Previously on the Sonic 4 Retrospective. Sonic 4 in one word is infuriating. Remember, this game is supposed to emulate the physics of games like Sonic 2, which it fails at remarkably. I would wholeheartedly give this a 1 out of 10. This belongs in the F tier, the garbage tier. Hell, it doesn't even belong on the screen. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we made it to episode 2. Much like episode 1, I haven't played either game till coming to review them, and well, you can't get much worse than episode 1. So let's go ahead and put episode 2 under the lens now and see if this game is as big of a mess as the first one, or did Sega learn their lesson? And does this warrant the hate it deserves? Join me as we take a look at the second part of Sonic Team's aborted game, Honestly, not much is known about Episode 2's development, except about a year after the release of Episode 1. Episode 2 was confirmed in February of 2011 to be full steam ahead in its development this time, with apparently a larger budget than the previous episode because Episode 1 was actually very commercially successful, so it was inevitable for its next installment to be on its way. 2011 was also a really big year for Sonic Team, as it was Sonic's 20th anniversary and they had a large project planned in advance for this year, in the form of Sonic Generations. So it was all hands on deck to get this out, and this subsequently caused the delay, not really called delay, of episode 2. Sonic Team's head producer Takashi Iizuka explains it here in August of 2011. 2011 is the anniversary, so we're focusing on the celebration title, but moving forward to 2012, Sonic will still be going, so I had hoped to provide episode 2 then. It was always our plan to release episode 2 after Generations. In the interim though, now being used as the prequel to episode 2, Sonic CD was re-released by Christian Whitehead's team, as episode 2 would rely heavily on the story of CD. Fast forwarding a couple of months to December of 2011, Sonic 4 fans would finally get their plate at the dinner table, with a teaser trailer being showed showing Metal Sonic and Tails would be coming back, and they would actually fix whatever the hell this art style was, and the brick physics of the first episode. Dimps again would be taking the front seat of the development of this, with Sonic Team assisting them on a numbered sequel to the original trilogy. This is like getting the directors that aren't George Lucas to make the sequels to the original trilogy. Wait, Sonic 4 would then get its time to shine, releasing on May 15th, 2012, around 2 years after the release of Episode 1. This would also include Episode Metal, which was a retread of Episode 1 as Metal Sonic and went just about how you would expect it. But we'll cover that also in this video. Well, with the return of Metal Sonic, it certainly had me enticed to see if it was as big of a dumpster fire as Episode 1, and to see what Tails would bring to the table. Well, how did they do? They did good. You guys did good? Well, good job, Sonic Team. Good job, Dimps. I don't know how you pulled it off, but honestly, it seems like a lot of effort went into this, and while having some issues, it's actually a freaking blast to play through. So much so, I beat this game in one sitting twice. This game has no right being as fun as it is. And no, I'm not just saying that because Episode 1 was legit the worst game I've ever played. It looks like they actually took everything that was wrong with Sonic 4 and fixed it. This includes the physics, which are apparently attributed to Sonic Team not being lazy, and actually using a completely new built-up from the ground engine compared to the atrocity that was Episode 1's basis off the Rush engine. I'm not going to bore you guys with the exact intricacies, but it's very evident the movement feels quite smooth and not brick-like. His acceleration also feels a lot more natural and in line with the Genesis games. Another big benefit is not getting gibbed out of the special stages because you went past them too fast, and Sonic is too slow to make it to the ring in time. So no, I didn't throw my controller this time. The art style looks very pretty also, going with the more traditional, new, modern Sonic colors art style, which I think is very charming here, and the zones have some gorgeous visuals. The homing attack and follow-through, which I still despise being in a 2D Sonic game, got what feels like a rework, and they feel very good to use, although the lock-on can still be very derpy sometimes. The physics are leagues better than its prequel, and the base moveset actually feels very cohesive. Episode 2 takes a page out of Sonic Advance 3's book, bringing a watered-down version of the team combos back. The team only consisting of Sonic and Tails, but they're actually really fun to use and actually feel quite innovative for the 2D Sonic formula, and they bring a whole new dynamic with the two new moves Sonic can combo with Tails. Those being, Tails can carry Sonic to new places, but you actually have control over, and they're actually used in the platforming a decent amount, and the Mega Spin Dash that is used to break through pillars and such. Think kinda like Knuckles' ability from Sonic 3. The levels actually cater to using these mechanics on your own, surprisingly with a lot of areas that can only be accessed using these moves. On the flip side though, there is a decent amount of spoon-fed sections for these mechanics, all the way to the final stage, which pretty much feels like the definition of babyfying a mechanic. The final zone or level should be a test of everything that was put into practice throughout the game. Not, don't forget to press X, Lamau. There's also a lot of sections which you can access using the team combos, which aren't really spoon-fed and require a tad of thinking. One that comes to mind is the Red Ring in Act 2 of Oiled Desert. And while this game certainly isn't hard by any means, some of the later combo sections are actually a bit challenging, having to maneuver Sonic and Tails together in midair between the spikes or jet engines, for example. The negative to these new combos, in my opinion, is as much as they add, they also take away in a certain aspect, mainly stemming from difficulty. Tails can be used as a band-aid, making the levels significantly easier, because if you miss a jump or something, just press X to fly back up. I love the idea of the team-up mechanic, and it was executed pretty decently, but I thought Sega and Dimps are still barely scratching the surface on what can be done with these mechanics gameplay-wise. Along with the Chaos Emeralds, the Red Rings make their return from their previous boost games, which is normally a thing I'm not a fan of, as they are generally placed very lazily, but in Episode 2, I found them incredibly enjoyable. The Red Rings are placed in relatively good locations, offering a lot of hidden routes or actual problem-solving skills to be used on them, harking back to my Oil Desert Act 2 example from earlier. I actually enjoyed them so much, I went back and got every Red Ring just for fun, without using a guide. It's quite disappointing though, as nothing is given for collecting them. Would have been cool seeing some artwork or something like how Generations did it. I also thought it was cool seeing the ultimate moves from heroes making their grand return. And it's awesome when used, but I still feel like this is another thing they barely scratch the surface on, as the ultimate moves are only kept to certain monitors in certain sections of certain zones, making them feel very stilted or orchestrated, and the feeling of wiping an area of robots out you come across like in Heroes is kinda gone. Don't get me wrong though, I did like their addition but wish they would have fleshed out the mechanic a bit more to make it not feel as cheap. Episode 2 was released on basically everything like the first one, ranging from Steam, PSN, XBL, iOS, Ouya, Nvidia Shield, and we can't forget the Windows Phone and Shield Android TV versions of course. And funny enough, the Wii version was dropped because of the hardware constraints. I'd say if you can play it on Steam because of discounts and stuff like it never goes on sale on PSN. Holy shit, it actually has a plot. No points for that obviously, but the plot is actually pretty awesome in my opinion. Episode 2 takes place directly after Episode 1 and also ties Sonic City into the mix as it revives Metal Sonic from Little Planet, who both made their grand returns in this also, and Metal serving as the main antagonist throughout the game, and they did him justice. At least until Episode Metal, but still, he doesn't mess around in this game and is an absolute joy every time he's on the screen. The storytelling is also pretty good in this, bringing the environmental storytelling back from the previous Sonic games, like how in White Park Act 1, you can see the giant carnival in the background, which you actually end up blitzing through in the next act, or in Sky Fortress, each act progresses you through boarding the ship, going through it, and finally exiting the thing. Along with the zone transitions and the cutscenes that play throughout the game, I still wish they would have done the text boxes or something, but it's alleviated a bit compared to Episode 1, as Sonic and Tails are incredibly expressive throughout the game, whether it's their special stage animations, when entering a stage, or passing through a checkpoint, the cutscenes, or just playing throughout the levels, they add a lot of charm to the game. This charm extends to the zones too. The zones this time are not shameless retreads of already established zones, but are actually brand new locations or completely new renditions of previous zones, and for the most part are all very unique, having their own character and feel to each zone, and are actually really fun. The zones are Sylvania Castle, which is cool seeing a mossy castle location for a zone, White Park, Oiled Desert, Sky Fortress, and the Death Egg Mark II. My favorite being White Park. I just love the snowy outside acts of 1 and 3, while 2 is on a roller coaster switching between tracks and a Metal Sonic boss fight at the end of the zone. What more could I ask for? It is still quite disappointing only having 5 zones in a game made in 2012, where Sonic 1 had 6, 2 had 7, and 3K had 11. It's no excuse for 5 zones, but I will say it's not as bad as Sonic 4 Episode 1's though, as there are 4 acts including the boss per zone, and the locations vary enough that it doesn't feel samey, which lessens the blow a bit, but still, just because it's better than Episode 1, it still has to be held to the same standards as the classics. With that said though, I wish they could have kept it to 2 acts and a boss and cut the 3rd act of each zone, which could have been used for a completely new, unique zone. The level design is leagues better than Episode 1. It actually feels like Sonic zones, offering a lot of route flexibility, and thank the Lord they got rid of all the bullshit bottomless pits and crushing blocks. Thank you, thank you, thank you. In regards to the callbacks to the old zones, it honestly doesn't bother me that much since the zones still stand by themselves as their own thing and don't feel like blatant nostalgia pandering. Actually, in some cases, I like better than their original counterparts. For example, I love Wing Fortress and Sky Chase in this game so much. The Sky Chase act is fun as hell, and the new additions they make to Wing Fortress like the wall running or dodging in and out of the jet engines are very enjoyable in my opinion. The gimmick and set pieces are also pretty neat, with my favorite being the aforementioned wall running in Sky Fortress and the snowboarding section in Winter Park. But where the hell is he getting all those conveniently placed snowboards, I wonder? And thank God they actually took the effort to grace us with badniks that fit each zone location. Some of them are pretty cool actually, and require to use the combos to take them out swiftly. The bosses are awesome in this also. I love them all. The bosses all have these really cool unique designs, ranging from a giant snake flower tentacle thing to an actual fucking mech fight. fighting Metal Sonic in the air on the tornado, a callback to Stardust Speedway, or the final boss, which I thought was neat having to dodge these electrical grids and use the team combos to break Eggman's shields down. The Death Egg is also a pretty neat zone, and they bring the gravity sections back from 3K, but the camera is too zoomed in, making them kind of feel jarring, but I still enjoyed it. Also, they actually got rid of the bullshit homing attack buffer from episode 1. And the bosses have an actual mechanism to block the attack, making it feel a lot more fair. I love the special stages in this game. These are new renditions of the Sonic 2 stages that, honestly, I think are better than their original counterparts. In these, you have the traditional Sonic and Tails duo collecting rings while dodging bombs and such, but what makes these so fun and unique is the new added mechanics and features. To start, you can now control Sonic and Tails' speed, and while in the first couple of stages you can get away with going slow and taking your time collecting rings, or going fast in almost a boost way, the trade-off of going slow is the surface area Sonic and Tails cover is significantly lower, and jumps are a lot shorter. The surface area coverage meaning you'll collect less rings than while going fast, this in tandem with having the new mechanic of the tether system that collects any rings in between Sonic and Tails. So the way to use this is to speed up and get some distance between Sonic and Tails to collect the most rings possible, but if you're hit, the tether will disappear. The stages are super fun to play, and felt pretty fair but challenging, and not bullshit like Episode 1's or Sonic 2's. What pisses me off though is the 1 Chaos Emerald per act crap is still here, which feels like really annoying padding. But the levels are at least super fun to play, and the amount of rings you get is ridiculous since it's a pretty easy game overall, so it's not as bad, but still. The way you access the stages is the same from Sonic 1, where you need 50 rings at the end of the stage, and the giant ring appears. Once collecting all 7 Chaos Emeralds, which are for some reason as large as Sonic's head, you get access to Super Sonic, who is awesome in this game, having his normal feats and such, but his transformation animation is one of the best in the franchise, and the music is not ear grating this time, so that's always nice. Yeah, I know the episode 1 and 2 animations are pretty much the same, but fuck episode 1 and its art style.
Just watch me! This one's for you, Father!
Man, and I thought finding information about episode 1's music development was hard. There is literally no information on episode 2's music development, except Jun Sonoy, also the lead composer of this game's OST, along with Naofumi Hayata, Spencer Nilsson, and Masafumi Ogata, all rejoining from Sonic CD's music team to help work on this project. The music is still pretty synth-based, but none of the songs are terrible per se, just a lot of average to mess songs that sound pretty good in the moment, but you'll easily forget about right after playing their respective acts. But there are some really good standouts, like Sylvania Castle Act 3, White Park Act 2, and Sky Fortress Act 2. There's also a lot of new sound effects, although some are reused, so yay? That's all really to say about episode 2's OST. No cool trivia or anything. Yeah, it just kinda happened and that was the end of it. Oh yeah, and before I forget, there's also episode Metal, which is a backwards retread through the episode 1 stages in the old engine with the shit art style. That takes place between 1 and 2. And Metal Sonic doesn't even have any new abilities. They even show him getting the crystal source, and he doesn't use any of the abilities he has in episode 2. Not even a freaking rocket boost. He's just a Sonic reskin. There's not even a boss in this episode. You chase Sonic the whole time, and it would have been sick having to fight Sonic as the final boss and having him escape or something to keep continuity with episode 2, but nope. The whole thing is wasted potential and a complete waste of time. And also, if he's buddies with Eggman, why is he destroying all the badniks in his factory? It makes no sense. Well, episode 1 was just flat out terrible. This is terrible on the same scale, not just because it's using the same engine and everything, but there's also just so much missed potential. So this is also getting a 1 out of 10 into the garbage with episode 1, F tier. Sonic 4 Episode 2 exceeded my expectations by a lot actually, and was a lot of fun to play through. To be honest, I think this game for me had the potential to eclipse Sonic 2, or at least be on par with it, as it's my least favorite out of the Genesis quadrilogy. But I just can't say anything like that with there not being enough zones, and a lot of other things that just don't feel as fleshed out as they could have been. Like I said before, if they took those 4 acts in each zone and split them into 2 acts or even 3 acts with the bosses in the 3rd act like in Sonic 2 or 1, and used that creative energy on never before seen locations, I think an argument could be made about it being an excellent 2D game. But those are all ifs and not what actually happened. Don't get me wrong though, this game is a really fun romp and I highly suggest buying it if it's on sale. In terms of ranking, I'd give this game numerically like a 7.5 to an 8 out of 10 depending on the day, but certainly I feel it fits very well into the B to C plus tier. But I'm going to stick with B as I really enjoyed my time with it. I think this would have a much higher reception in the fan base if it was named literally anything other than Sonic 4 Episode 2. Since Episode 1 is just so awful, people immediately associate it with the first one. Rightfully so if the title is the same though. If this was called something else, I think the love for Episode 2 would be a lot higher. Anyways, as we all know now, which Izuka confirmed in March of 2012, about a month before Episode 2's release, funny enough, Sonic 4 Episode 3 was cancelled, and Sega actually extended the offer to Christian Whitehead, of all people, to work on the 3rd episode. But Sega of Australia, the company that was planned to work on Episode 3, shut down, so he took his talents to go work on the mobile ports of Sonic 1 and 2. I would have really liked to see what Episode 3 would have entailed in an alternate universe, and how that would have turned out if Whitehead was leading the project. It's definitely something to think about. Well, as we wrap up, I wonder what the game journalists thought about it. What? A 6 out of 10 and 2 stars? Seriously? These are the same people who gave episode 1 a 4.5 out of 5? Are you serious? Wow. Well, anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Adventure is on the way, don't worry, which I'll have up soon enough. Thanks for watching, and if you really enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe and like the video. See you in the next one.